I'm going to give you 3 things today that are going to help you hole more putts. Let's get stuck into the first one. You might have heard the saying, missing on the pro side and the amateur side, and it's great that we've actually got a little bit of dew on here because you'll be able to see exactly what I mean by this. So on a putt like so, if I were to miss this on the amateur side or the low side, what it would mean here, if we just come in quickly and have a look at this dew line there, as it started on its track, it never really had a chance of going in because as the ball has left my blade, it's already low of the break. So when we watch the pros on television and we hear the commentators saying, oh, he's missed that on the high side or he's missed it on the pro side, at home, people watching, I generally would imagine we miss putts on the low side of the amateur side, and that's because we haven't given it a chance as soon as we've started it off due to where we've hit it on the line of the break. So when we're looking at a putt, people sometimes underestimate putts, especially this sort of length of putt here where it's a 10-footer or so or something like that. We'll see that it never really has a chance of going in because it's not high enough up the line as we're doing it. So what we've got to try and do when we get to a putt and we can see that there is a little bit of break on here, the slope is going from right to left as we look at it from this angle. From my angle here, it is from left to right as I stand to it. What I've got to make sure is that when I'm starting my ball out here, if I'm going to give myself a chance of holing more putts, if they were to miss, I would want them to miss on the higher side of the break. So if it's a left to right, I'd want it to miss more on the left. If it's a right to left, I'd want to miss it more on the right. Obviously we don't want to miss, we want to hold them, but if I'm missing it on the opposite sides, it's already taken the break and it hasn't got a chance of going in. So next time you're faced with a putt, try and have a look and see what the break is, and from there then, if you are going to miss, you'd want to miss it on the high side like so, because at least if you then get it right, hopefully on this last final one, it's got a chance of going in, unlike that one there. But when we're putting, take a little bit more time to understand the breaks and see what the high side versus the low side in. We always want to favour that high side because at least it's got a chance of swinging back towards the hole if we do miss it. Let's go and take a look at the second tip. So tip 2 comes down to the strike on our putter, and it's one that when I ask a lot of players, well, how do you strike your putts? Generally the answer would be, yeah, okay, it's not something I really think about because it's not like an iron where we would take a big divot before the golf ball, thin it. It's not like a wood that I'm topping it. Generally, we hit our putter all right, but what I'm talking about is more toe, heel, and middle, more centered strikes. Because, little example of this, if I'm faced like this with a 40-foot putt and I set this ball right out of the toe of the putter here, and then I give it a swing, and I felt that one twist in my hands a little bit, it's gone off right because I've hit it out of the toe, but it's also come out pretty short. If I were now to line it a bit more out of the middle here, and then make a very similar stroke, it felt a lot sweeter, it started more on line, and I've got extra distance out of it. So you might not have that bad a putting stroke, but on long putts you could be leaving yourself with tricky second putts because your strike isn't that great. You may have read it perfectly, but you might be a little bit too much toe, a little bit too much heel, and that is going to drop your shots. Real easy way for you to fix this. 2 T-pegs, and if we got another golf ball and we come in close here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to line my putter up to where I want it to go, and I'm just going to pop a T-peg either side of the toe and the heel like so. You would see Tiger Woods doing this loads, one of his favourite drills. But there then, I've now created a gate, and depending on your skill level, leave the appropriate room on either side of the tee for the putter to pass through. And all we need to start to do is just make some swings where I'm feeling, see there, I just toed that one, so I would have heeled that putt. I've got to make some swings where I'm starting to feel that I'm getting the blade to work through without touching the T-pegs. If I can then do this once the ball goes back in, what I'm going to see is that I will start to strike my putts a heck of a lot better. So ball in, line it up out of the centre, make the same stroke again, just letting the club head pass through the tee pegs without hitting it. And a great strike there, and we see it rolling out very much like the other one, all because I'm starting to work on that strike. So probably something you've not thought about a lot, but try and find that middle of the putter. Another great one is putting blue tack on on the toe and the heel and making the spot small for you to hit, so it just really focuses on that strike. Give it a go, see how that goes. We're going to take a look at that third and final tip to help you be a better putter. Tip 3. If we can do those things, if we can start to read putts better, if we can strike the ball better, which is going to help us control distance, we need to actually be able to start the ball on line. Massive skill in putting. When we see all the top players in the world, they generally hit their lines, as it would be called, because they see where they want the ball to roll and they can get it rolling over here. If we take a look at this, I've plotted out the journey of what I think this putt here would be. So as it's passing through the stages here, it would have to go through these tee pegs to make sure that it's actually going through the lines. Because again, one of the things that I would see from my students, or when I've played in pro-ams or I play with my friends, and they say, what do you think of this putt, Matt? Where is it going? And it's all dependent on how fast you're hitting it as well. But you know, the people I'm playing with, I would know their speeds generally. I would say, well, this putt here, it's ½ an inch outside the center of the hole. So the journey now is plotted to be here. The aim point is ½ an inch outside there. They would hit the putt, something maybe a little bit like so, and it hits one of the tee pegs. And if the tee pegs weren't there, that ball would have missed right, and they would look at me and think, well, you read that wrong. Well, what actually happened is you didn't hit your start line. So this is a great drill here. From about 10 feet and in, have a couple of sets of tee pegs, and then depending on your skill level, get them tighter to the golf ball the better you get at it. But as you're starting off, make the gate a little bit wide, and we want 2 of them down there. And as we come in close here, the aim for me is now, as I'm thinking about hitting this putt, I know I want to strike it out of the center, but I'm just trying to get it rolling down these lines here to see that I would start knocking the putts in. Because if I'm doing this, I'm matching my read to my start line, and I can start holing more and more putts here. So a fantastic drill that you can really do at home as well on your carpet with a couple of mugs or whatever it may be. But something you've got to do if you want to be a great putter, if you want to be like the people we see on TV, they all hit their start lines. So go through those, make sure you're favouring the high side when you're putting, make sure you're finding the middle more frequently, and make sure you're hitting your start lines. If you can do those 3 things, I guarantee that you will become a better putter. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson this week. If you have, do hit that subscribe button for me down below. I want you to get better at golf, and you can do that by joining me here every week on the channel for your free lessons. Thanks for watching. I'll see you when you're holing more putts.